Let's take a look at number 4 here. It says if the function x to the fourth is changed to g of x equals 1/2 x to the quantity x minus 3 to the fourth power, how has the graph of the function been transformed? Okay, I'm going to pause. I'm going to let you graph these. Graph both of these equations, please. Graph f of x and graph g of x. Okay, go ahead and graph those. Okay, I've now added the answer choices options. Let's take a look at the graph. One of these is really simple, and just about every student got it correct. I think a couple people just guessed and didn't actually pay attention. The one that we can get it correct is the translation, the shift. Which way is the purple graph shifted compared to the green? Up, down, left, or right? It's been shifted to the right. So that's the part that's simpler for everybody. The part that's not so simple is this graph. What appears to happen? Is it a horizontal compression, expansion, or vertical compression, expansion? When you look at this, what does it look like's happened going from green to purple? It looks wider. And here's where this is tricky. So since it is wider, wider meaning horizontal, that's the x-axis, is wider. You think it's horizontal expansion. Compression means to press in. Expansion means to go wider. So you would think horizontal expansion. However, it's wrong. Let me show you why it's wrong. Mathematically, come up here. This 1/2, it comes down to the rules. Actually, let me start with the -3. Is this -3 right here on the inside with x, or is it on the outside? It's inside, which means it's going to change your x's. Come on, Michael, stay with me here. It's going to change the x's. So if I'm changing the x's, are x's liars or truth tellers? Liars. So every x value does not actually get subtracted by 3. What happens to every x value? It adds 3 to every single x value on the graph, which is why it went right. That's why it went to the right, because of that. Now, the 1/2, is that inside or outside? What do y'all think? Inside or outside? Say it louder, please.
Outside.
It's outside. Hey, Michael, if you can just go get a drink or something, I can't just watch you keep falling asleep on me. That's outside. If it's outside, does it change x's or y's?
Wise.
Y's. Now, are your y's, your wives, are they liars or truth tellers? Truth tellers. That's why we marry them. So every y value gets multiplied by 1/2. Okay, so with that, I'm going to come back to the words. Horizontal, this means x-axis. Horizontal is your x-axis. Vertical is your y-axis. What mathematically is being changed, the x's or the y's? The y's are being changed. So it's not a horizontal, it's going to be a vertical. That's why so many of these students got it wrong, is because on the graph, it looks like it's horizontally wider, but that's not actually what happened mathematically. What happened is, let's think through. We said it's a truth teller. When you multiply any number by 1/2, I don't care if you choose, let's just pick some random numbers. Let's take the number 10. What is 1/2 times 10? 5. Did 10 get bigger or smaller going from 10 to 5? Smaller. Let's try another one. 100. What's 100 times 1/2? 50. Does it get bigger or smaller? Smaller. Every time it's getting smaller, therefore it is a compression. Now I have another way for you to think through this. I'm going to turn on my camera here so you can see what's going on as well. Okay, everybody, I showed you this at the beginning of the year when we went over this. I want you to pretend like you're holding a balloon. So hold your balloon in the hands. I know you are high schoolers, but just do it. You're holding the balloon in your hands. Now, in your balloon, in this illustration, don't think the balloon can ever pop. It's not going to pop. I want you to think through what would happen if you're really holding a balloon and it doesn't pop. You start to press in with your hands this way. What else would happen to that balloon?
It would get taller.
Vertically, it would get taller. Transformations work the same way on the graph. You could make a change horizontally, and vertically, it'll also appear to change. But that's not necessarily what happens mathematically, but that's what happens practically. In this case, we didn't change the horizontal, we changed vertical. So take your balloon this way. Hold it like you're holding it from the y-axis. And I want you to visually think through, if you compressed, that's what we said the answer was, a vertical compression. That means you push down this way. What would happen to your balloon? It would look wider left and right. So that's why on this picture, mathematically, it looks wider. Let me turn off my camera now. Mathematically, visually, I should say, it looks wider, but we didn't actually change the x's. What we did is we multiplied the y's by half. We've actually squashed it downward, and it just appears to be wider. But the correct answer is vertical compression. So how would you know that? Well, if you think about the balloon and you think about the location, you can eliminate. Let me show you. The 1/2, is it inside with x or outside? As soon as you know it's outside, you eliminate those two. Now you think through a balloon. Take your balloon and visually think through. If you pulled it wider, we know it's supposed to be vertical, but if you pulled it wider, what would happen to it vertically? Would it expand or would it compress? Meaning smaller, it would get flat, it would get smaller. It would be a compression, a shrink. So that's why that's the answer. Okay, I have a DOL for you now. I want you to try this DOL. DOL number 5. Here's your problem. I want you to think through. I got the options up here. What would be correct? You can graph first, but I want you to find out what happens. DOL number 5. Okay, as I pick back up on this, I thought of something I haven't told you. I'm going to write it out this way. So which letter alphabetically comes first, X or Y? X. So we always do X's first, then Y, because X comes alphabetically first. Okay, when you think of the words horizontal and vertical, which one alphabetically would come first? Horizontal or vertical? Horizontal. So this is also alphabetical, just like X and Y. What am I trying to point out? That if it's horizontal, you're changing X's. If it's vertical, you're changing Y's. So I just want to put that up there, just so if you forget, that's how you think through it. Just alphabetically, X comes before Y, H comes before V. The H, the horizontal, goes with X, vertical goes with Y. Okay, so here's the picture. You're looking from green, change to purple. Which direction did it shift 4 units? Went left, and then it went 2 units down. Because there's not much space for me to write here, I'm going to say 4 units L. What does L stand for? Left, and 2 units D for down. Good there? Now let's talk about this. From the picture, does it look skinnier or wider? Skinnier. But think about the balloon. Just because it looks skinnier doesn't necessarily mean, okay, it looks skinnier. I either pushed in, kind of think of from the x-axis, I pushed in with the x's, or if I was holding it from the y-axis, I pulled outward. It's one or the other. So we just because it's skinnier doesn't mean. What I can eliminate is this. If you think of the balloon, getting skinnier would be a horizontal compression. So horizontal expansion is out for sure. Does that make sense? It can't be that. Now, if I had my hands on the top and bottom of the balloon, for it to get skinnier, which way did I push my hand? Did I push my hands down or did I pull them out to make the balloon skinnier? You'd have to pull out. So it would not be compression. This one, the option is expand. So to determine which one is it, think about the location of the 3. Is the 3 inside with X, meaning it's multiplying the X's, or is it on the outside multiplying with the Y's? It's on the outside. This 3 would multiply the Y's. So Y is vertical, and the reason it expands is because anytime you multiply by 3, it gets bigger. Vertical expansion. Does that make sense? You could have done algebra first and said, okay, that's outside. That means horizontal has to be out. You could have started that way. And then ask yourself, what happens if I multiply by 3? Does a number get bigger or smaller if I multiply by 3? The answer is bigger. And so you could have done it that way as well. Questions over this topic before we move on forever?
If it's outside, it's always going to be vertical.
Anything on the outside, so the -2 is vertical. Down is a vertical word. Up and down are vertical words. Left and right are horizontal words. Just think through the X and Y axis. Up and down are on the Y axis, which is Y is vertical. Left and right are on the X axis. So that would be a horizontal word. So because the -2 was outside, that's why it was vertical down. Because X plus 4 is on the inside, that's why it was horizontal left. That makes sense. And horizontal always lies. So we didn't actually add 4. You subtracted all x's by 4. All right. Okay,